and fade intro music. Hello everyone, welcome to the Zorp Experience. Today we are joined by a leading researcher in humans to help us understand them and probably crack a few jokes. Thanks for allowing me on your podcast. And hi, my name is Zeep. I'm a top researcher in humans, and there are some very fascinating, weird thingies. So tell us, Zeep, how's your experience with monitoring and interacting with humans? Well, during my time with humans, I've noticed that they form complex ideas that evolve in really weird ways. Oh yeah, like those meme things that everyone's talking about on their planet. It's like funny stuff, but everyone does their own version and it starts to change into other things. Yes, exactly. And I find it interesting because we do the same thing. We evolve ideas. Speaking of the evolution of ideas and stuff, they have these things called pets, and they are so weird. Like, in some parts of their planet, these humans, they treat them like royalty. They use them as basically slaves, or they just enjoy their presence. Some of them even eat them, which is really weird. And they have 3 different main kinds. There's things that they call canines, which I'll just put a picture up of them. They're so cute. And they also have these things that they call cats or felines. They're pretty cute, but before they were domesticated and turned small, they were terrifying, and they still are if they're not in a house. Then they have these things called goldfish, which is basically their version of our Gleefles. You know, those little things that swim around in the water with massive eyeballs. So what you're saying is they took wild animals and domesticated them? Alright, before we go any further, I need to give an announcement from today's sponsor. Or translated to English for you humans, Translato. I have used this in all of my videos, so you guys can understand me while I'm speaking. You can use this at home, you can use it at work, if you need to communicate with a human. You shouldn't really need this in the most cases, but you are not the target audience for this product. Back to the podcast. So, just on the topic of, like, good moves, what do you think the best thing they've ever done? Or what do I think the best thing they've ever done is? I haven't really... I think the best thing they've ever done is invent the pencil. Do you know what that is? What's that? Oh, okay. What's that? Some kind of medicine? No, actually, the pencil it's this tiny little stick with an element they call graphite on it, on the tip, or actually all the way inside, from top to bottom. And it's just a little stick, and they use it to grind down this graphite on anything it can. They usually use shavings of wood, of like trees, that they call paper. And so, why do you say it's the best thing they've ever done? Well, I only say that because it allowed them to have even more complex thoughts, and without the pencil and sort of paper as well, they wouldn't have been able to achieve the level of intelligence they have right now, because it would be so difficult to keep track of, what goes in the computer, where does it go, what does it do. I even find it difficult to understand all that. That does actually make sense. But what do you think the worst thing they've ever done is? What's the worst thing they ever did? Oh, there's a lot of bad stuff that they've done. Inventing money. What else? Having incredibly corrupt politicians, enslaving their own race, creating wars over pretty much nothing, being incredibly entitled. I think the worst thing they've ever done. They've trashed their own planet. They've pretty much screwed themselves over in the long run. So, yeah, it's pretty difficult to monitor them when it gets pretty depressing. Wow, I didn't know they did all that. So, might I ask, why are you keeping such a close eye on them? Well, because, again, they're very creatures. They rely on each other, and they all like need to be at least in the general vicinity of another one of their kind. Seems pretty clingy to me. Oh, so is that what those things you call schools are for? Or are they completely... Yeah, they are entirely different from... Well, sort of. A lot of their... You see, they put their young in these things called schools, like you just said, to both interact with other infants of their species, but also to be educated. Which, personally, the way they do it just... I don't know, man. They also have this thing called math, which is really weird. Oh, wait a minute, isn't math that thing where they like 1 + 1 is 2? And then they have like these two crossed lines that apparently make something that many times. It makes literally no sense. Yes, it's exactly that. And doesn't make much sense to me either. When would they use it? They've already tried space travel, and apparently they need it to get out of their atmosphere. But as we've discovered, big boom, shoot things far. I still don't understand why they... So, let's get off the topic of humans just for a little bit, and let's talk about the animals on their planet. They have, aside from the ones I already said, or mentioned, they have these things called mantis shrimps, which apparently can boil the water around them by just being built different. And they also have these tiny little things. They look just like a pill, but with 6 legs, and apparently they can survive in the vacuum of space. So these things called cephalopods, if that's how you say it, that have... They look just like our, They look just like the Zeevians on Proxima 2. You know, the reason why those cephalopods look exactly like the Zeevians is because they are. Yeah, they tried to invade their planet about 1,000 years ago, when humans first started, becoming humans. But it didn't work because the pressure on their planet was just too much. You know their little moon. It's very small, low gravity, but Earth is big. It's a big planet, dude. Oh, well, that's our time. Thanks for coming on the show. I hope to see you again sometime.